The Awakening. In the vast expanse of space, where stars twinkled like distant dreams, Captain Elara stood resolute at the helm of her starship, Odyssey. Her crew bustled around her, each member focused on their tasks as they navigated through uncharted territories. They were explorers at heart, driven by an insatiable curiosity to uncover the mysteries of the universe. The ancient artifact. One fateful day, while surveying a newly discovered planet, they stumbled upon an ancient artifact half buried in the crystalline sands. It shimmered with an otherworldly glow, pulsating softly as if it held a heartbeat of its own. Elara felt an inexplicable pull towards it. Her instincts told her this was no ordinary find. "Captain, we should analyze it further," suggested Dr. Kale, the ship's science officer. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he scanned the object with his handheld device. "Agreed," Elara replied, her voice steady but laced with anticipation. "Prepare a landing party." As they descended onto the planet's surface, a sense of awe enveloped them. The landscape was surreal. Towering crystal formations glimmered under twin suns, casting vibrant reflections across the sandy terrain. Yet, amid this beauty lay an unsettling silence that hinted at forgotten histories. The first encounter. Once they reached the artifact, Kale began his analysis while Elara stood guard. Suddenly, a low hum resonated from the object, vibrating through the ground beneath them. In that instant, shadows flickered across their surroundings as figures emerged from behind the crystalline structures. The beings were unlike anything they had encountered before. Tall and slender with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Their eyes glowed with an ethereal light as they approached cautiously. Humans, one spoke in a melodic tone that resonated within Elara's mind rather than her ears. "You have awakened what was meant to remain dormant." Elara's heart raced as she stepped forward. "We mean no harm. We seek knowledge." The alien regarded her for a moment before continuing. "Knowledge comes with a price. You must understand. This cycle has repeated countless times." A warning from beyond. Confusion washed over Elara as she exchanged glances with her crew. "What do you mean by cycle?" she asked. "The Great Cycle," replied another alien with a voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "A cycle of creation and destruction that governs all life in this universe." Elara felt a chill run down her spine. "And what is our role in this cycle?" "You are at a crossroads," said their leader solemnly. "Your actions will determine whether this cycle continues or ends in devastation." Before Elara could respond, an urgent signal blared from her communicator. It was Ensign Jax reporting from the ship. "Captain, we're detecting hostile ships approaching." The atmosphere shifted instantly. Tension crackled in the air like static electricity. The aliens exchanged worried glances before their leader turned back to Elara. "You must choose quickly," he urged. "The Voidbringers seek to consume all." The choice. Elara's mind raced as she weighed her options. She could retreat to safety aboard Odyssey, or she could stand alongside these mysterious beings against an unseen threat. "Prepare for battle," she commanded decisively, feeling the surge of determination coursing through her veins. "We will fight together." With that declaration, alliances were forged in moments of uncertainty as both humans and aliens prepared for what lay ahead, a confrontation that would test their resolve and shake their destinies within this cosmic tapestry. As they readied themselves for war against an unknown enemy, Captain Elara couldn't shake off a lingering thought. Was this truly just another chapter in humanity's long history? Or was it something far more significant, a chance to break free from cycles of destruction? With hearts pounding and adrenaline surging through their veins, they stood united against whatever darkness awaited them among the stars. A journey through time and space had just begun. The prophecy unfolds. As the echoes of battle faded into the void, Captain Elara stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, her heart racing with a mix of adrenaline and uncertainty. The alien beings, the Selthari, had shared a dire warning about the Great Cycle, a cosmic rhythm that dictated the rise and fall of civilizations. Now, with the imminent threat of the Voidbringers looming, Ilara felt an urgency to decipher what this cycle truly meant for her crew and for humanity. Deciphering the artifact. In the days following their encounter, Ilara gathered her crew in the ship's main conference room. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they reviewed data collected from the ancient artifact. Dr. Kale, hunched over his console, tapped furiously at his keyboard. "Captain," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "the artifact seems to contain a series of encrypted messages. It speaks of a prophecy, one that foretells our involvement in this cycle." Ilara leaned forward, intrigued yet anxious. "What does it say?" Cadel paused, glancing at his colleagues before continuing. "It describes a great conflict that will arise between two powerful forces, the Voidbringers and those who stand against them. It warns that failure to unite will lead to devastation." Ilara's mind raced as she processed this information. "We need to understand more about these Voidbringers. What do we know?" Tensions rise. As they delved deeper into the artifact's secrets, tensions began to rise within the crew and among their new Xelthari allies. Cultural misunderstandings surfaced frequently. Humans were pragmatic and direct, while Xelthari communication was often layered with nuance and emotion. One evening, during a joint meeting with Xelthari leaders, tempers flared when a misunderstanding led to accusations of betrayal. Ilara intervened, her voice firm but calm. "Enough. We are on the same side," she asserted. "We must focus on our common goal, defeating the Voidbringers." The Xelthari leader, Lorraine, regarded her with piercing eyes. "You humans are quick to anger, but slow to trust. This cycle has shown us that unity is essential." Ilara nodded, understanding the weight of Lorraine's words. "Then let's work together to build that trust." A battle ensues. Despite their efforts, mistrust simmered beneath the surface. One fateful day, as they prepared for another mission to gather intelligence on the Voidbringers, their ship detected an approaching fleet, one that bore no insignia but radiated hostility. "Captain, we're being hailed," Ensign Jax shouted from his station. On screen, Ilara commanded. The image of a menacing figure appeared, a commander of the Voidbringers who spoke in a chilling tone. "You have trespassed into our territory. Surrender or face annihilation." Ilara felt her blood run cold but quickly steeled herself. "We will not surrender," she replied defiantly. As soon as she spoke those words, chaos erupted on the bridge. Alarms blared as enemy ships opened fire, and Ilara barked orders at her crew. "Raise shields. Return fire." The Odyssey shook violently as it engaged in battle with the Voidbringers' fleet. The crew worked tirelessly at their stations while Ilara navigated through enemy fire with precision. Heavy losses. Despite their best efforts, the battle took a toll on both sides. Explosions lit up space around them as ships were torn apart by energy blasts. Ilara's heart sank as she watched one of her crew members fall during an attack. "Medics to Deck 3. She shouted over the din. The fight raged on until finally, after what felt like hours, they managed to retreat, though not without heavy losses. "Report," Ilara demanded as they regrouped in the conference room. Dr. Kale looked grim as he reviewed their statistics. "We lost several crew members and sustained significant damage to our ship." Ilara felt a wave of despair wash over her but quickly pushed it aside. "We cannot let this defeat deter us. We have to learn from it and prepare for what comes next." A pivotal moment. Days passed as they repaired their ship and mourned their losses. During this time, Ilara sought out Lorraine for guidance. "We need to unite our forces," Ilara urged during their meeting in a quiet corner of the ship. Lorraine regarded her thoughtfully before speaking. "Trust is hard-earned but easily lost. You must show your people that collaboration is vital." Ilara nodded, understanding that she had to lead by example if she wanted both species to come together against a common enemy. That night, she gathered her crew again for a meeting, a rallying call to unite human and Xelthari forces against their shared foe. We have faced loss, she began passionately, looking around at her crew and their alien allies. But we cannot let fear dictate our actions. Together we can achieve what we cannot do alone. Her words resonated with many in the room. Some nodded in agreement while others exchanged hopeful glances. A new alliance. As discussions continued late into the night, plans began forming for joint missions aimed at gathering intelligence about the Voidbringers' movements and strategies. Lyran stepped forward during one such discussion. "We can share our technology and tactics," he proposed. "Together we will be stronger." Ilara felt a surge of hope at Lyran's words. Perhaps this was indeed how they could break free from cycles of conflict and forge a new path forward. With renewed determination, they began preparing for their next mission, one that would test their newfound alliance against an enemy that threatened not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy. As they set course towards an unknown destiny filled with uncertainty and danger, Captain Ilara couldn't shake off a lingering thought. Could this truly be the turning point in their journey through time and space? The answer lay ahead, waiting within the shadows of an impending storm, where courage would be tested and destinies rewritten once more. The Rift. As the Odyssey drifted through the vastness of space, the crew grappled with the aftermath of their recent battle against the Voidbringers. The weight of loss hung heavy in the air, but amidst the sorrow, a flicker of hope remained. Captain Ilara knew that to survive this conflict, they needed to bridge the rift between humans and Seltheri, a task that would prove more challenging than she had anticipated. Building bridges. In the days following their retreat, Ilara called for a meeting with both her crew and the Seltheri leaders. The conference room buzzed with tension as humans and aliens exchanged wary glances. Ilara stood at the head of the table, her heart pounding as she prepared to address them. "We've suffered great losses," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "But if we are to stand a chance against the Voidbringers, we must unite. Our differences cannot be a barrier. They must be our strength." Lyran, the Seltheri leader, nodded slowly. "We have seen your courage in battle, Captain. But trust is not easily given. It must be earned." Ilara understood the gravity of his words. "Then let us earn it together. We need to share our knowledge and resources." With that, discussions began on how to integrate their technologies and tactics. The room filled with ideas and strategies, but underlying currents of mistrust still lingered. Cultural clashes. As days turned into weeks, joint training exercises commenced aboard the Odyssey. Humans and Seltheri worked side by side, learning from one another. However, cultural clashes soon emerged. Humans were direct and often blunt in their communication, while Seltheri preferred subtlety and nuance. During one training session, a misunderstanding led to a heated argument between a human pilot and a Seltheri engineer. "Why can't you just follow orders?" shouted Lieutenant Kira, frustration evident in her voice. The Seltheri engineer responded coolly, "Your methods lack finesse. We must consider all variables." Ilara intervened before tensions escalated further. "This is exactly what I mean. We need to find common ground. Let's focus on our shared goal, defeating the Voidbringers." A pivotal rescue. One evening, as Ilara reviewed battle plans in her quarters, an alarm blared throughout the ship. The Odyssey was under attack. She rushed to the bridge to assess the situation. "Captain, a Voidbringer scout ship has breached our defenses," Ensign Jax reported urgently. "Divert power to shields. Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Ilara commanded. As they engaged in battle once more, chaos erupted on the bridge. The ship shook violently as enemy fire struck their hull. Ilara's heart raced as she fought to maintain control. Suddenly, she noticed a distress signal coming from a nearby Seltheri vessel under siege by multiple Voidbringer ships. "Lyran," she shouted over the din, "we need to help them." Lyran hesitated but then nodded resolutely. "We will not abandon our allies." With a swift maneuver, Ilara piloted the Odyssey towards the beleaguered Seltheri ship. They unleashed their weapons upon the Voidbringers with renewed determination. "Fire at will," Ilara ordered as they engaged in fierce combat. Forging trust. After a tense battle, they managed to drive off the Voidbringers and rescue the Xelthari crew. As they regrouped on board the Odyssey, Lorraine approached Ilara with gratitude shining in his eyes. "You saved us," he said sincerely. "Perhaps there is hope for our alliance after all." Ilara felt a surge of pride at his words. "We are stronger together," she replied firmly. That night, as they celebrated their victory over dinner, laughter filled the air for the first time in weeks. Humans and Xelthari shared stories of their cultures, each tale weaving a tapestry of understanding that began to dissolve barriers between them. The darkening sky. However, peace was short-lived. Days later, while scanning for enemy movements, Dr. Kale detected an ominous energy signature approaching their position. "Captain, we have multiple Voidbringer ships on an intercept course," he warned urgently. Ilara's heart sank as she realized they were being hunted again. "All hands to battle stations. Prepare for engagement." As alarms blared throughout the ship and crew members scrambled into action, Ilara felt a sense of foreboding wash over her. This time would be different. They were outnumbered and outgunned. The battle begins. The Odyssey shuddered under heavy fire as they entered combat once more against overwhelming odds. Ilara fought valiantly at her station while coordinating maneuvers with Lorraine's crew. "Focus fire on their lead ship," she commanded through gritted teeth as energy blasts illuminated space around them. But despite their best efforts, it became clear that they were losing ground quickly. One by one, enemy ships closed in on them like vultures circling prey. "Captain, we can't hold them off much longer," Jax shouted desperately. Ilara's mind raced as she considered their options. Retreating would mean leaving behind those who had fought alongside them. "No, we fight until we can't anymore," she declared fiercely. A sacrifice made. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Lorraine made a bold decision that would change everything. "I will take my ship into their formation," he announced resolutely. "It may buy you time to escape." Ilara's heart sank at his words. "No, we can't leave you behind." "It is necessary," Lorraine replied calmly but firmly. "You must survive to carry on this fight." With tears in her eyes, Ilara nodded reluctantly as Lorraine activated his ship's self-destruct sequence and launched it into the fray against overwhelming odds. "No," she screamed as explosions lit up space around them. The last sight of Lorraine's ship disappearing into chaos filled her with anguish. Aftermath. The Odyssey barely managed to escape amidst the wreckage of battle, a bittersweet victory overshadowed by loss and sacrifice. As they drifted into safety away from danger, grief settled heavily upon Ilara's heart. In those quiet moments aboard her ship after such turmoil, a void where laughter once echoed, she realized that unity came with its own price. Sacrifice for something greater than oneself. As they navigated through space towards an uncertain future filled with challenges ahead, one thing became clear: if they were to honor Lorraine's sacrifice and truly unite against darkness, they would need more than just technology or tactics. They would need unwavering resolve forged through shared experiences and trust built over time. The journey ahead would test them all, but together they would face whatever lay beyond stars, bound by purpose yet again. As they ventured deeper into this great cycle where destinies intertwined like threads woven across galaxies waiting patiently for new stories yet untold.